And today we're going to talk about rare birds with a Carolina parakeet as the picture in The Someday Birds by Sally J. Plough. So, I have a question. Do you think that Charlie's actually going to see the Carolina parakeet, or do you think that he's only going to see like a dead one? Or do you think that it's just like symbolism? Well, I don't think that he's going to see a real one, but why do you think that there's a Carolina parakeet, and where do you think that he's going to see it? Probably at Sanctuary Marsh. You know, maybe at Tiberius Shaw's house, where, you know, maybe Tiberius has a bird collection. Many bird experts do at times. And so who knows? Maybe that. And do you think that Tiberius could also explain more about the DNA things, about the DNA that they're working on? You know, he was one of the contributing scientists. So do you think that he's going to tell Charlie more about that? Or do you think that Charlie's even going to meet him at all? What do you think about that? And now there's Tiberius Shaw's quote. Okay, which actually, even though it's only the directions to his house, he makes it sound really poetic. And after that, you can try to make where your house is, or your sanctuary, or refuge, sound very poetic. So Tiberius Shaw is like, I take the southern entrance by the visitor center and went my way inward, through and across the marsh for some time north and east. And after a while, a stand of deep, dark pine and cedar appears like a mirage, shivering on its own island hill, with no apparent way to reach it. But there is always an approach to the unreachable. Persist, move closer, and when treasure rises up like a gift, my hidden refuge within this refuge, its roof the greenest of greens. So he does a pretty good job of this. So I think that he should just become a poet or something. Do you think that Charlie right now is making the most sensible decision to run like this? And I have a question. If you had been Charlie, would you have even dared to run? Or would you just be like, no, I can't run. That's too scary. I would have dared to run, but I wouldn't have thought of it in the first place. I wouldn't have wanted to do it in the first place. But I do have the bravery to do it if I had to. Now, do you think that Charlie's going to make it to Tiberius Shaw's house? Do you think he's even going to see Tiberius Shaw? Or do you think that, like the rest of the family said, that going to Tiberius Shaw's house is too extreme and too, private, and Tiberius Shaw wouldn't like it? I mean, that's probably why nobody really is around. Well, there are people around, birders and all that, but mostly, there aren't a lot of people wanting to see Tiberius Shaw, so wouldn't he not want to be found? Think about it like that. Do you think that Tiberius Shaw wants other people to talk to him, or do you think he just wants to be alone? That's one thing. And now, I have a question. Charlie meets a group of birders, right? And they're just really looking for birds, and they actually even see a great blue heron, right? There's a heron. And now, what I wanted to say and talk about is the different ways that people experience and enjoy nature. Some people enjoy nature by fishing in it. They love to fish, and while they're fishing, they enjoy the nature. Some people like to do that. Other like to hike to enjoy nature. Others, they go biking. Others fly over the place with airplanes. Others like start watching, and still others like birding, and others like just lying back and enjoying nature sounds and looking at the awesome places, and others just like swimming in nature. And some like to go on snowmobiles, cross-country skiing, driving through nature, whatever. Like maybe horseback riding too. So there's a lot of different ways to enjoy nature. What's yours? And if you're like, well, I like to fish and I also like to swim a lot, but I also like hiking a little, and I think that also just sitting back and relaxing is pretty good too. Like if you are like part, then well, you could just do some parts. Like you could do like 1/4. Like 1/4 of you is swimming, 1/4 of you is hiking, 1/4 of you is birding, whatever. But now, Charlie is looking at the house, right? He's like, it's really there. Do you think that you should have said that out loud? Because now everybody's like, what? Do you think that you should have said that out loud? Maybe not. But do you really think that Charlie really is now defeated? And do you think that Tiberius Shaw doesn't live there? Or do you think that Tiberius Shaw is just gone, living somewhere else? Or do you think that he's just gone from the face of the earth? That might be another thing, right? Now, do you think that Charlie should have said if that's Tiberius Shaw's house? Because, if he has said that, maybe somebody would be like, no, you're not supposed to go there. Don't go there. Like, do you think they should have said it? I would have liked it if he kept it more private, but it didn't do any harm, in my opinion. And now, have you ever actually felt your heart sink? Like if it was here, all the way here. Yeah, I got my heart sink a lot. Once when when I'm on a really scary ride, I'm like, this is going to be, and then my heart is like, at first I was like, la la, and it goes plummeting down into a dark abyss. Now, do you think that Charlie's actually only gonna get lost here, or do you think that or do you think that he's actually gonna be like searching and wandering, and then he gets lost, and then suddenly there's Tiberius Shaw's house? Do you think that's gonna be possible? I'm thinking, my guess is that's gonna happen, but who knows? But I have a question. Here's another question. What do you think that Tiberius Shaw learned that helped him to survive? And then Charlie swears that he sees a bird. A extinct bird. A Carolina parakeet. Is that possible that Charlie saw I almost said Carolina, and then I almost said Carolina, and then I was like, Carolina. But anyway, Carolina parakeet. But do you think that's possible? Do you think that Charlie's actually seeing it, or do you think that it's like a robot, or just a really good carving, or do you think that Charlie, maybe he was dehydrated or something, that he's just delirious? I don't believe that Charlie's delirious. He's a smart guy, and if he had been thirsty or dehydrated, he would have already felt dehydrated or thirsty medically. And also, who knows? Maybe the Carolina parakeets were still alive, or maybe this is fate or magic, or maybe that bird is just colored like a Carolina parakeet. But I don't think that's possible. Now, the parakeet actually flies, so it can't be a robot or a sculpture, right? And I mean, like Charlie, think about it. He hasn't gone crazy because everything else is in detail, right? He isn't losing his train of thought. He's focused. He knows what he's doing, and he's like, why am I seeing a Carolina parakeet that's supposed to be extinct? Most people, if they're mad or, I don't know, like have a mental issue, they might be like, a Carolina parakeet. But Charlie isn't like that, so I don't think that this is a illusion or like a mirage. Then suddenly the bird leads him to a mailbox, but there's no house. Who do you think that the mailbox? Who do you think that the mailbox belongs to? Tiberius Shaw. That was what I thought. And now so Charlie actually sees that this is a genuine Carolina parakeet, or as a Southern person would say, and I've read so many books from the South, I know it, genuine bird, right? And now Tiberius Shaw was actually a scientist, a donor for DNA, and also genomic research. And you know, they're trying to, with the DNA, they're trying to make the animals that are already alive stronger. And also, like they're right now doing with mammoths, they're trying to recreate an extinct animal. Now, I don't think that they should do mammoths because mammoths will be pretty unused to this area. If so, we should be trying to protect the animals that are either almost extinct or the animals that have been only extinct for like a few years that we can easily bring back. Not a mammoth, which has lived thousands and thousands of years ago. That's sort of impossible, but like birds and cat species and a lot of other things. And soon enough, we can have like, wow, a lot of different kinds of animals, and that's gonna be great. But mammoths, would you really like it if you saw a mammoth, or would you like it if you saw a Carolina parakeet? And let's say that mammoth was perching on a tree, and a Carolina parakeet was perching on a tree. And besides, what will make it more dangerous and more, you know, like something bad might happen with a mammoth. You never know. Actually, you can do a debate like that. You can do a debate. One person can be like, mammoths and extinct creatures from long ago, and somebody else can be like, animals that have only died. And some people might be like, let's not just save any animals. I mean, but if you think about it, would you really like dinosaurs running around killing people? It would be just Jurassic Park over again, right? And I don't think that I would like Jurassic Park to happen, because it actually didn't happen, and still people were like, oh man, right? It's like, ah. And now there are pine trees, a thick stand of pine trees, and the bird goes there. That is exactly what Tiberius Shaw said that was his refuge. And though there's no house, there are hundreds, like it's just, everything is just filled. Carolina parakeets, Carolina parakeets, Carolina parakeets. Did you even think that was possible? And what do you think that Tiberius Shaw was probably working on? And why do you think that this was his refuge? Because these are the last Carolina parakeets alive. Or who knows, maybe he created the Carolina parakeets. They have been extinct. I mean, it's not like the people who searched for them were like, they're not like that. They've actually thoroughly searched the place, which means maybe these Carolina parakeets, maybe, just maybe, Tiberius Shaw somehow actually made them, cloned them. But do you think that's even possible? Well, scientists say, and it's just possible to do it, but right now it's like to some people it sounds like sci-fi, science fiction, but actually it might not be science fiction. And actually, here's a fun thing that you can do: choose something that you think is that somebody else, or maybe even you, think is sci-fi, and then guess when that's gonna happen. When somebody, he's about 30 years old, and when he was young, sliding glass doors, those things he thought were all sci-fi. And now, only 30 years later, look at what, there's like, even into just going into just plain grocery stores, there are those kinds of doors already. People are already going to go to Mars. But then don't overestimate our abilities. People in the 1980s or whatever were thinking, by 2010, we'll have gone to Mars. Astronauts will have gone to Mars. But really, 2022, and we've only sent, drones and stuff to Mars. Even though I have to say, that's pretty impressive. So, do you think that what Charlie's seeing is actually possible or not? That's the big question for today. And also, sci-fi novels are, in a way, sort of educating. They give you new ideas, and they're actually really fun too. I mean, yeah, I read a lot of sci-fi novels like Ender's Game. The Ender's Game series is pretty good in my opinion. So, if you want sci-fi, then you can read sci-fi, and there's also lots of sci-fi novels. I mean, and there's also a lot of sci-fi movies too, if you want to know, like Star Wars. So if you had been Charlie and you had seen all those birds, would you have thought, okay, I'm crazy? Or would you have thought, this is amazing, I have to tell the public? Or would you just be like, wow, but I can't tell the public? I wouldn't want to tell the public. This is something somewhere very secret. And if the public does, they're gonna be like, click, 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 click. And then they'll be like bothering the birds so much. If the public just doesn't know, that's gonna be 10 times better right now. So yeah, no public, awesome. Now, do you think that Tiberius Shaw actually was there? And why do you think that Tiberius Shaw is not there anymore? Well, he's probably moving around. Maybe there's more places with parakeets, right? He's probably going to guard them and make sure that they're all right. But to do that, well, he can't just stay in one place. He has to move around his tent and camp. Because he needs to protect these Carolina parakeets from getting extinct again. They're miracle birds, like Charlie said. Now, I have another question. Do you think that Charlie, while going through the place and enjoying, how do you think that he enjoyed nature here? How? He enjoyed, but in a way, sort of being part of nature, right? He was still, but he didn't want to get away from the mud. He embraced it. He was a part of nature then. I like that. And also, do you think that Charlie is that? And do you think that Tiberius Shaw is actually going to find the bird book? I mean the Green Journal, and also the Carolina parakeet drawing. Yeah, he is, and I think that he's really, really, really going to appreciate it. Then suddenly, there is a tick, 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 and now also. There's also this very dark man who's looking at him, right? At Charlie. And I have another question, and that is, do you think that this man is going to immediately be like, okay, police come, news people come, everybody else come? Like, do you need someone? There's a national emergency. Police, you must come here right now. It's a 911. Do you think that he's gonna be like that? No, I mean, he doesn't really seem mean, right? He's like, you okay? And he's not mad. He's just like really curious, right? And he's like, what is this kid doing here? Now, do you really think that Rodney is a good person? And also, why do you think that Rodney isn't like scolding Charlie? Maybe because Rodney had a moment in his childhood when he ran away and he can sympathize. Or maybe he just likes kids, or just sympathizes a lot with kids. And he has a lot of empathy and also sympathy. Also, what I wanted to say about Rodney was, he's a really good guy. And do you think that Charlie would have really made it without him? I mean, knowing that there was a tick on him, and also giving Charlie some orange soda? Yeah. I mean, without Rodney, Charlie would have been like creeped out of his skin that there was a tick there. And have you ever seen somebody with like the widest teeth you've ever seen? I know one. I've seen this guy, and he has such white teeth. It's like, how in the world does he get that teeth so bright? I'm like always wondering. You know, like when you also look at the commercials, their teeth are like sparkling, right? And I think that the only way you can do that is if you're like, when you wake up, teeth time, scrub, 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 right after breakfast. Scrub, 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 scrub. 1 hour later, scrub, 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 scrub. Just before lunch, scrub, 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 scrub. After lunch, scrub, scrub, scrub. And then repeat that process 1 million times every year. And that's basically how they live. It's just scrubbing their teeth until they're shiny. And have you ever actually read the poem Hope is a Thing with Feathers by Emily Dickinson? Yes, I have. He's sort of like Emily Dickinson, like a bird so free, feathers. Maybe that's what she was saying. Or maybe feathers make you fly, and hope is sort of like flying, right? So I really think that Emily Dickinson is really much of a genius. And if you really want to know a little more about stuff related to that, read the book Feathers by Jacqueline Woodson. And actually, the meaning that feathers, it actually comes from the poem Hope is a Thing with Feathers. It won the Newbery Honor, so it's a great book. I haven't done a book club about it yet, but I might. So, yeah, that book's awesome. And finally, do you think that Rodney, if you had been Rodney, do you think that you would have forced Charlie to call or not? I would have encouraged, but I wouldn't have been like, if you don't call like that, but I would have encouraged a lot. But I would feel sort of uncomfortable in a way to talk to the parents, talk to Charlie's parents, because at first they probably are thinking, is that a kidnapper? At times, right? And how do you think that Charlie's family is going to react when they see him? They're probably going to start. First, be like, hug. They're going to be like, and then they're going to